Technology is approaching a weird place wherein we are pretty close to the Starship Enterprise. For instance, I can now simply go, "Hey Google, make the dining room brighter."
Okay, brightening the dining room light.
And the dining room light miraculously gets brighter. But what is going on behind the scenes to actually make this happen? Well, that's what we're going to explore in this video today. So in this particular scenario, there are actually 3 systems all working together to make the lights come on with the sound of my voice. The first, and perhaps most important, is Samsung's SmartThings system. SmartThings consists of a web-enabled hub that can accept and send commands from various smart devices. SmartThings is more or less a protocol that enables remote control of compatible things. The interface resides mostly in a smartphone app, where you can assign devices to different routines and create some automated tasks. Via a SmartThings account, the SmartThings hub located in your home and connected to your internet gateway is able to accept commands from the SmartThings interface and send them to connected devices. The SmartThings hub connects to actual things via a protocol called ZWave, though it is also compatible with Zigbee, as well as other services with perhaps some light hacking. I'm not able to control the lights with my voice solely with SmartThings. To do that, I'm using a Google Home. The Google Home is a smart speaker by Google, very similar to Amazon's Echo, which uses Alexa, and they can do many of the same things. My Google account is connected to my SmartThings account, and by enabling the Google Home to control devices with SmartThings, the 2 platforms can share data between themselves. With this connection, the Google Home can understand what I'm asking SmartThings to do, and vice versa. For instance, the Google Home app allows you to assign SmartThings devices to different rooms. That way, if I say turn on the living room lights, SmartThings knows that I mean both of the lights in my living room. If I named specifically the living room table lamps or the light by the stereo, then it will only turn on the specified device. Allow me to show you what's involved with adding a device onto the SmartThings network. Right now, none of the lights in my kitchen are currently smart. I'm going to increase their IQ by replacing the switch on the wall with a ZWave enabled dimmer. I want a dimmer anyway, so why not make it smart for a few dollars more? Now I'll show you the rest. Be warned, the audio is about to get worse. So obviously the first thing you need to do is find out what breaker turns off your lights. We don't want to be working on the light switch when it's energized. At least I would highly recommend against it. I'm going to guess it's this one, labeled kitchen living room. Okay, the next step is to find a light. So now that the switch has been successfully installed, we have to pair it to my SmartThings network. This is actually almost frighteningly easy. So on the SmartThings app, you simply go into your home center, and you'll notice that there's a handy button called Add a Thing. So if I push Add a Thing, now the SmartThings hub is looking for new devices. Now, every ZWave enabled device has some way to send a signal that it wants to connect. In most cases, the light switch, you simply touch it. After I've touched the switch, there's a slight delay, but you'll see that it pops up in the Add a Thing window as a ZWave wall dimmer. So I'm going to select this device and I'm going to rename it to the kitchen spots. Not spits. That would be funny, but no. So now that I've named it the kitchen spots, I simply press save and it confirms that it's paired, and that's it. It's that simple. So now you can see it shows up in the app, and I can select a brightness value from the slider right here, and very, very quickly from when I select it, it actually changes values. So it's very responsive, very easy to use, as well as quite powerful. Now, the Google Home does not yet have access to control these lights. That has to be done manually every time you add a new device. Now, I'd be annoyed by this, but I appreciate the extra security. So to add the device, it's also really easy. You go to the Google Home app, and you're going to go into the little hamburger menu and press Home Control. Now, you'll see it shows all the devices that Google Home currently has access to, and I'm going to say I want to add a new one. And these are the 3 services that, as of right now, the Google Assistant has the ability to actually change. So you've got Nest thermostats, Philips Hue bulbs, and the SmartThings system. So, of course, I already have SmartThings, and I'm going to say check for new devices. Now, it's actually going online. All this is happening in the cloud. So SmartThings is telling me, do I want to authorize Google to access SmartThings? And of course I do. So I'm going to select, it can select from home, because you can have multiple places on a SmartThings account. And now it asks, what devices do I want it to be able to use? And I, in this case, want it to be able to do everything. So the only one that hasn't been checked is the kitchen spots. Now you might ask, why would you not want it to be able to do something? And for a situation like if you have a light on a timer, Right now I have my balcony lights, which is simply a switch, on a timer, so that way they come on automatically at sunset because it's Christmas time and I have some lights out. If you didn't want Google Home to be able to access that, you could certainly set it up that way. But I'm going to authorize it to have all the access to all of my lights. And we're done. Now the Google Home app wants to know what room this device is actually in, so it's going to ask me what room I should place it in. And this is the kitchen, which I do not yet have anything in. And it's done. So the reason why Google asks you for the room is if you want to tell it to turn on or off all the lights in the room, you can name the room rather than the specific light. But there you go, it's that simple. Now all I have to do is say, hey Google, turn off the kitchen spots.
You got it, turning the kitchen spots off.
And like that, the lights have turned off. I can also specify specific brightnesses. Hey Google, set the kitchen spots to 65%.
Sure, setting the kitchen spots brightness to 65%.
Pretty easy, huh?
But even without the help of the Google Home, there are plenty of things that can be done automatically. One of the things that I use regularly via SmartThings is the automated going away and return commands. Based on my smartphone's location, the SmartThings app can figure out if I'm home or not. If it's detected that I've left, after a set period of time, it executes an automated routine which turns off all the lights. When I return home, it turns some of my lights on to 30% brightness, enabling me to come home to a welcoming environment where I don't have to reach for a light switch. But there are plenty of other things too. For instance, you can program lights to come on at sunset and go off at sunrise, and since the hub is controlling it, the on and off times automatically change with the seasons. SmartThings also has motion sensors and even water sensors, and you can have it do various things depending on the input of those sensors. You could even get notifications to your phone should a sensor find something wrong, such as water in the basement. So here's what really happens when I tell Google to turn on my lights. By using the wake-up phrase, the Google Home is woken up. It listens for my command to turn on the dining room lights. Now the audio data of my speech is quickly sent to the cloud where it's processed to determine what I actually said. Once the servers of the Google Assistant figure out that I want to turn on the dining room light, it sends a signal to my SmartThings account and says, hey, he wants to turn on the dining room light. Then the SmartThings service sends a command to my SmartThings hub, which sends a signal to the ZWave switch in the wall of the dining room telling it to turn on. And all of this happens in a matter of seconds. I never really thought that I would get into this home automation business. In fact, with a 2-bedroom condo, I thought it would be pretty useless, but it turns out that I actually find it to be incredibly helpful. When I leave my bedroom to adjust the thermostat, I can simply say, turn on the living room lights, and they come on before I even get out of bed. Better yet, if I had a smart thermostat, I could simply ask Google to raise the temperature. And when I leave, I don't have to worry if I forgot to turn off the lights. I know they'll automatically go off, and the app will even notify you when it's done so if you prefer. There are some challenges though. First and foremost, there are some legitimate privacy concerns with having a smart device always listening to you, and yet another app that knows you're not home. But aside from those challenges, in these early days there are a lot of competing systems. For instance, Philips has the Hue system of smart light bulbs. However, if I wanted to use Hue, I'd have to have another hub for its service or an Ethernet bridge to enable SmartThings to talk to the bulbs. The same goes for other systems that have their own proprietary hubs, not to mention the plethora of Wi-Fi enabled smart devices with their own dedicated apps. I decided to go with SmartThings because it uses the ZWave protocol, and I like the fact that the devices it controls aren't connected to the internet. This makes the system much less vulnerable to attacks, in my opinion. Since I'm comfortable replacing light switches, it also enables the installation of far fewer devices. I can use 8 dumb LED bulbs in my track lighting, which cost a few dollars each, with one $30 switch, rather than buying 8 smart bulbs. And plenty of different brands of switch, such as GE and Leviton, make switches that use the ZWave standard. I also like ZWave because each device can pass along a command to another. So if there was a switch that's out of range of your hub, as long as there's another ZWave device along the way, the command will get there. Admittedly, for a 2-bedroom apartment, that's certainly not a requirement. For those turned off by wiring, there are also inexpensive plug-in modules allowing you to set up lamps as smart devices in moments. These plug-in dimmers are about $25, which I consider a modest price to pay for what you get in return. In fact, with one of these, you can even set up your Christmas tree. Hey Google, set the tree lights to 100%.
Okay, setting the tree lights brightness to 100%.
It's a great big beautiful tomorrow.
Having a smart home and a smart speaker to control it, such as the Google Home or Amazon Alexa, is a weird thing that I can't help but equate to Star Trek. I hope to one day be able to customize the wake phrase on my Google Home so I can simply say, "Computer, turn on the lights." The best part, though, is that because most of the processing takes place in the cloud, these systems will get more powerful as time progresses. Thanks for watching this quick video on home automation. If you like videos like this, exploring various facets of technology, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe. I'm doing my best to keep videos like this headed your way. I'll see you next time. It's that simple, I'm already done, so now I can say, "Hey Google, turn off the kitchen lights."
It looks like you haven't connected any lights yet. Just open the Google Home app and go to Home Control to add lights.
That's embarrassing. So you go into your SmartThings app, and if you look, there's oh shoot. So now that the switch has been successfully installed, and I just realized the fridge is running. I'm gonna unplug the fridge for a moment.